Hey guys, welcome to ChamPanZ Percussion. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and we're so excited to have you join us. Today, we're going to be learning how to identify where the notes on our staff are when we look at our keyboard. So before jumping into this video, you want to make sure that you know how to identify the notes that are on the staff and how to identify the notes on this keyboard. Now, if you do not know how to identify the notes either on your keyboard or on your staff, please make sure to check out one of my previous videos that talks about how to identify the notes on your staff and how to find the notes on your keyboard. Once you go ahead and do that, you can go ahead and join us in this video. So let's start off by looking at our staff. When we look at our staff, we want to make sure that we are looking at treble clef. If you are looking at the correct staff with the right clef, you will now be able to identify what notes you have on this staff. As we have said before, the phrase that we have for our lines is, "Every good boy does fine." And now the phrase that we have for the spaces is face, because space rhymes with face. And so those are going to be the letters that we're going to be using for our spaces in our treble clef. Now let's identify our first note on our keyboard. We're going to look for this F right here, the one at the middle of your keyboard. This F is going to be positioned on your first space on your treble clef. So the one where we have F for F-A-C-E, face. This one right here is going to be placed on that first space. Now this F right here at the top part of our keyboard, that is going to be placed on your highest line. Now if you look at this F right here, this F is located on the first space of your treble clef. And once again, this F right here is located on the top line of your treble clef. Okay, so now we know how to identify this F and this higher F. Once we know how to identify those two notes, we now know that the rest of the notes are going to be within the staff. So if we were to find G, G will be just right above that. So that will be the second line that we have. And then on the second space that we will have A. On the third line that we have, that would be B. After that, we have C on the third space, D on the fourth line, E on the last space or your fourth space, and then F, which we identified earlier, on your last line or your fifth line. So now we know how to identify these notes on our keyboard whenever we look at our treble clef. Now what about for these high notes right here? So all you want to do is go up from there. G will be the next space. Your first ledger line would be on A. B will be the next space right above that ledger line. And your second ledger line will be this top C that we have right here. Got it? Hopefully you understand how to find those notes on the top part of your keyboard. So these notes right here are going to be above the staff and will have ledger lines as well. Now let's go back to this F right here. All these notes right here, from all the way to the bottom right here, those notes are actually going to be below your treble clef. So this note right here, E, is actually going to be on your first line whenever you look at your treble clef. We identified F, which was on the first space, but E will be on the first line. From there on, all we have to do is go backwards. So the first note underneath your treble clef is going to be D. That's going to be on the first space underneath your treble clef. The next note we have is the first ledger line, which will be C. After that, you will go below and you would have your first space underneath that first ledger line. That will be B. After that, two ledger lines underneath your treble clef. That's going to be A. Then underneath that, you're going to have G underneath that line. And then three ledger lines below is going to be your lowest F. So again, three ledger lines below, that's going to be F. Now if you look at the middle F, this F is located on the first space. And then this F right here is located on the last line of your treble clef. Now that you know how to identify this F, and this low F, you will now be able to identify all of these notes a lot more easier. And don't forget, all the notes between this F and this F are going to be within the treble clef. Well guys, that's all I have for today. Now if you still have questions on identifying where the notes on your keyboard are when you look at your staff, please comment below. Now if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to keep up to date on any new videos I will be posting. Thanks for watching and don't forget to have fun.